Kia ora. We are looking today very quickly at passkeys. What are they, and how do they work? So passkeys are a new-ish kind of authentication method. You might be going onto a website and it's saying passkeys available. So what is a passkey and why is it important? And is it better than passwords? So let's have a look at authentications. So when we, there are three types of ways that we can authenticate. There are something that we know. These are passwords or passphrases. There's something that we are. So these are biometrics, fingerprints, face unlock and stuff like that. And then there's something that we have, like a device or a encryption, a physical encryption USB key. So those are the three ways that we authenticate ourselves online or with devices. Okay. So just simply passwords. Passwords have been the standard for a long, long time. Passwords are getting longer. Passwords are easy to forget. Also, we get constantly reminded that using the same password everywhere is a real security risk, because it is. It just means if someone gets one of your passwords, they have access to all of your accounts. So how does a password work? When we sign up to an account or have a device or something like that that requires some kind of authentication, we think up a password, we send that password across to that account, and that account keeps that copy of the password there. So whenever we want to log in, we use our username to say who we are, and we use our password to say that we are the right person. Okay? And then that service or website sends us back the information. Now, the problem with this is that the passwords are stored on the website and stored with us. Once again, we can forget those passwords, which becomes a nuisance to try and recover. And if something happens to the website, our passwords might be compromised. Also, we, depending on the service, we might have to change our password quite often, and then that becomes a struggle to try and remember that. That's where password managers can help, but it's still probably the least secure. So two-factor authentication helps to alleviate that. And with two-factor authentication, we still use passwords. So we have a password that we remember. It's sent to the site. And so when we want to access that service or that site, or want to log in from a different location, we send our information, who we are, usually our username or our password, our username or our email, and then we send our password as well. The password gets checked against the database of that site and against our username, and then we get a challenge back. So the two-factor authentication adds an extra step. So the challenge might be a 6-digit key that gets text to us or sent to our email, or it might be request a key from an authentication service like Google Authenticate. Right? We then usually use our phone, maybe including biometrics to unlock an app and send the code back, and then we get access to the service. So it's more secure. So it adds that extra layer in there. Okay, but it's still reliant on passwords. So passkeys are a little bit different. Passkeys allow us to sign into a website or sign up to a service without any password. And how do they work? Well, when we want to sign up to a site or service, we use an app that creates two passkeys. The first passkey is our private passkey. The second one is the public passkey. And that public passkey and private passkey are used just on that site. Okay? The public one is fine. It doesn't matter where it goes or who has access to it. That's because the only thing they can decrypt the data from the public key is the private key. And the only thing that can decrypt stuff from the private key is the public key. So we sign up and we send the public key over to that service, and it sits with that service. So when we want to log in, we just say who we are. So that will be our username or our email. That service then says, okay, you are who you say you are. And it will send data over that only the private key can access. Now, the private key is usually going to be sitting on our phone. So it uses something that we have, but also often secured by a biometric, like a fingerprint or face unlock. And so just in that, we have gone a lot more secure. We've kind of included that two-factor authentication, although two-factor authentication can also happen in this space as well. So we might use the passkey, but some sites still might require two-factor authentication. It's a little bit of a hoo-ha, but it's better than being unsecure. So the reason why this is a good benefit, and the reason why we're seeing a lot more of it happening, even though it's a technology that's been around for a while, is because we keep the private key, and we create new private keys for each service, and we share new public keys for each of those services. And only our private key that we've got on our device can unlock that public key. Now, what happens if we lose our device? So that's where things like password managers or tying our private keys to a service that we have actually comes into play, because then we can sync our private keys to our devices. There are security issues with that, and there are ways that we can increase our security in that respect, and that's using a physical kind of USB key. That's a deeper kind of story. So the methods that we can use to save these passkeys. So if we have an iPhone and we've got an Apple account, we can use Apple's password manager. If we have an Android phone, if we use primarily Google on Gmail, we can use Google accounts, including it built into Chrome, the password manager built into Chrome. Likewise with Microsoft, if we've got a Hotmail or an Outlook account, we can use Edge if we want, and the password manager built into that. Or we can use a password manager, like 1Password, LastPass, Bitwarden, Dashlane. There's a number of other ones as well. Now, my preference is to use a password manager, because that means I'm not locked into Google or Apple. So if I change devices or I change accounts and that, I'm not locked into them. I am locked into the password manager business. And so that's a different issue. But from a privacy aspect, I want less tracking from the big companies like Apple and Google. Right, so let's see how that actually works in practice. Now, my wife and I use 1Password. We have a 1Password family account, and we also manage it for my mum, who uses 1Password. So we're going to come to Facebook and set up a passkey. Now, I've got 1Password installed on my browser, and I've unlocked it, and so it's just sitting up as a little plugin up the top right-hand side. Okay. So I'm going to come to Settings and Privacy, and I'm going to come to the Privacy Center. Okay. And I'll just come to Common Privacy Settings. Now, I've found Facebook. We have to go to the Account Center, which it doesn't have a quick link to the Account Center. But we're going to come to Account Center, and then we've got Manage Profiles, Change Password, Two-Factor Authentication. Let's go to Passwords and Security, and here we have Passkey. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on Create Passkey. Now, it's going to give me some information. I'm going to have my phone handy, because I'm actually going to set it up on my phone, and it's going to sync to my 1Password that I'm logged into as well. So if I go create a passkey, okay, it's going to ask me for my password and tutorial tour. Okay. So where do I want to save my key? I can save it to a security key, a physical USB. These are special USBs, so you just can't use any USB, but I'm going to go Android device. It's going to give me a QR code. I'm just going to use my camera to scan this QR code. And on my camera, it's brought up a thing to say create passkey. Create passkey. And my one password manager is going to come up and save that passkey in one password. Okay. And it's going to save it with my already saved Tutorial Tour account. Okay. So you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just unlocking my phone and saving the passkey in there, using my thumbprint to create it. And here we have my passkey. So my passkey is linked to my password manager. I could have it linked just to my phone. And if I lost my phone, it becomes a little bit of a problem, but we can usually recover things. We can recover accounts. There's multiple ways that we can recover accounts, including with our email address. Or I can even create multiple passkeys. Say I've got a phone and a tablet, and I just want to use those devices. So I'm going to leave the link to this video in the description, which explains in more technical detail about passkeys and how you can use them. I'll also put another link in to a different video from a different content creator that also explains about passkeys. Kia ora.
Oh, that's it.